Welcome to the Ground New Voices Amplified. My name is Claude Marco and I'm your host, and I'm excited to be joining you today, where I'll be speaking to an illustrious woman, a very enterprising lady who's based in South Africa in Johannesburg, and she's a fashion entrepreneur, and she has managed to create a wave and a buzz on the scene there. I was watching one episode of The Perfect Wedding, and she happened to have dressed one couple there, and it caught my attention. I was like, let me today as we celebrate the Women's Month. Joan Nyambe, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you, Claude?
I'm good, I'm good.
Thank you for that amazing introduction.
Thank you. Thank you. So just to start off with, tell us a bit about your background, about your upbringing, and how you got influenced to get into fashion.
All right. I grew up all over actually. We were from one place to the other place called Tairoja. So it's like part of my life is in Glenview, Lochinvar, Gare, Pakosi, but the bigger part of my growing up was now in Domboshava, where my parents are still based in. So mine is quite a bit different. I didn't choose actually. I didn't sit down and say I'm now doing fashion or designing. No, I'd always loved clothes. So in 2009, I moved. I was in Botswana for something like 3 years. Then I moved back to Harare, and then we had the dollarization in Zimbabwe. So I decided to stay and started looking for a job. But while I couldn't get a job, I then decided, well, there were cheaper things in Botswana. Let me try go and get stuff and resell. So I started selling clothes. That's how I started. So it wasn't really like I was like, now I'm pursuing this career. So along the way, I moved from selling those clothes to designing and making. It was kind of not really having a choice, but trying to survive in the environment that we're living in Zimbabwe.
Right. And escaping that environment, moving to Botswana, to South Africa, and now setting up a business. Now you've got a thriving shop there. How easy or how difficult was it for you to establish and set up?
Um, it wasn't easy. I think I'm one person who just takes some risk when it comes to business. It started when the dollar started shooting, and it was the one is to one didn't work out. That's when I started thinking, with these things, I always get people on social media platforms asking me, why not open a shop in SA? We're in SA, we're interested with your stuff. So I got to have a lot of people who would inquire. I think that's the reason why I then decided to go the SA route. And then last year, when we had the shutdown in Zimbabwe, it was terrible. Everyone knows about that one. That's when I started talking to people in SA. Like, I think I'm now really thinking about looking for a shop in SA. So I did then send messages to people that I know that are in SA. And in amongst those people, I was linked to someone who did manage to find the shop for me. And then when the shop was found, we were not ready financially. That's the truth. You can never be ready anyway. So we're not really ready, but now this was an opportunity that I couldn't miss. And I ended up asking two of my friends to partner with me because I knew I couldn't do it on my own. Here in Zimbabwe, it was okay. I could do it without partnership, but going the SA route, we needed more money, needed to grow, and I needed other people and their expertise. Because I also have my strengths, I have my weaknesses, so I needed partners who come in and complement that which I was doing. So it was not easy because also moving from Zimbabwe, where there is not really functional economy, and moving into a functional economy. I've never operated outside of Zimbabwe. So I had a lot of mindset change and doing a whole lot of things when I got there because it's a functioning economy. So the way you do business in Zimbabwe and the way you do business in South Africa are totally different. Yes. So I also had to learn a lot in terms of their traditions, because as you know, our trademark is African films. So South Africa appreciate their traditions and they wear their traditional attire. Unlike here in Zimbabwe, where we can just wear any random print and we are cool. But in South Africa, if you're a Sotho, they want to wear their Sotho attire. If they are Zulu, they want to wear their Zulu. So I also had to learn very fast the different types and the dominant traditions there. So it hasn't been an easy road. It's never easy, but you learn as you go. And it's all about the zeal and the passion to push for what you're going and the willingness to learn and you continue going.
And talking about the zeal and the passion, what was driving you? What sort of was what gave you the energy and the motive to say, look, despite the difficult situation that we're facing in Zimbabwe, I'm going to pursue this dream? And you went straight into fashion, where a lot of bigger corporations are operating in, but you still found your own niche to create a brand that identifies with African fashion. What was really the inspiration? What kicked in for you to
I think my biggest drive is not really having another option.
Okay.
Like no plan B, no plan B to follow, no parents to follow. They are there, but they're already depending on me and depending on us, the kids. So for me, it's more like I didn't really have a choice. I always tell people, maybe if I had a plan or if I had another choice when the things are not really working, you'd probably say, let me put it aside and because you have a plan B. But I didn't have a plan B and I still had to work, right? I couldn't get a job and I still had to pursue that which I had that was proving to have potential to work for me. So that's where my drive mainly comes from. But along the way, in moving from selling clothes to making clothes, it's something that I then discovered that I actually had the designing thing in me, because when I was buying and selling, I would buy clothes and sometimes have a tailor redo them in a certain way. Like, I feel, no, this dress doesn't really look nice. Maybe if we do ABC to it, it will work. So that's how I then switched from buying and selling to making. So the designing part, it comes natural. Yeah, it's just natural. But I discovered it later because I was here already doing this, and then I realized, oh, okay, I'm actually doing this. And at first, I was looking for tailors all over Harare, like who can do this for me and who can do that for me. Until someone came to me and she was like, why don't you buy your own machines and get your own tailor that you know that they are working for you, so that you're not running around all over, because you're already getting the markets, right? Like the market was just there. I post on Facebook and people respond and people want to order stuff and all that. So I didn't even sit for a moment and think of the bigger fishes in the industry. I was just doing what I was doing at that level. And at some point, I went on for maybe 2 or 3 years without a vision to continue, because I thought it's something that will fizzle out. I just thought, well, African attires are trending. Maybe it's just for now. In talking to people and having people that you also confide in and mentors, that's when people started pointing out my strengths and my weaknesses and how I can actually make this a brand.
Wow, this is quite interesting. Coming from a background of selling clothes to designing clothes to owning a business and being self-taught.
From a background of being a secretary.
Wow. So you worked as a secretary before you left to start selling.
Yes. Wow. I was a data capture for Department of Roads, Minister of Transport, and then I did secretarial, and then I moved from being a data capture to a secretary to a PA.
Yes.
Before I left the former work.
Wow, I'm super inspired. I mean, that's quite inspiring to just hear your story that now you design the clothes and without going through any formal training to actually do this. That's very inspiring. And I hope for those that are watching, you'll be able to get inspired by 1 or 2 things. But talking about the markets, you touched on the markets. I see you're quite active. You put your brand out there on social media. This is how got to see of it for the first time. Do you feel threatened or overwhelmed by the bigger corporations that are also operating in the same space? You know, the bigger companies that are well established with 20, 30, 50 branches, and also international corporations that are coming in the same space of fashion. Do you feel there is enough market, or you feel a bit overwhelmed by their presence?
I wouldn't say I feel threatened. Sometimes I feel I'm not good enough, so I don't see them as competition, because there are times when I'm sitting and then I'm just thinking I'll never reach where they are. But in terms of the market, I think there's market for everyone. When I started, let's remember, I can't sew. I'm not a tailor. I was getting into an industry where there are people who have trained to do the tailoring. There are people who have trained to do designing, and I'm not, and I didn't train for that. But still, I would get people. I would have clothes made, put on social media, and still get people to come and have their things made for me. Some came maybe to try and left. Some came and they stayed. There are others who have been loyal. There are others who have left because we've messed up their things, because it's normal in this industry. We might be the best, or we might say we're the best, but there are times when things happen and the design doesn't come out as they are supposed to. And some clients go, some understand, and you make amends and they still stay. So most of the big ones, they inspire me, but I don't feel threatened, because I think I'm still at that place where I feel, well, probably not get up to their standards, because they are big and huge and more experience and more expertise. But I look up to them and I actually follow quite a lot. Even some ladies from Zimbabwe were all over, were designers making for celebrities, making for big people, and I'm inspired. I'm like, okay, if it comes my way, praise God, but I'm not threatened as such.
You just mentioned there that you're inspired. I'm looking at an environment that you grew up in. You're moving from Rugare, Lokinva, Glenview, and different places. And there were, I believe, there were not so many examples of women, successful women, that were possibly in the fashion or other industries that you could look up to, but you still could manage to dream within that environment. Are there any particular figures that you'd say, okay, this person, uh, preferably a woman, that sort of gave you a bit of inspiration to even continue doing what you're doing?
Growing up, I didn't have anyone. That's true. My mom used to sew, but it was just this whole thing of doing it pamba and all. And then we can on the machine and do doll clothes and all. But it wasn't, and she was just doing it from home. It wasn't anything out of the blue. Her strength was mainly in knitting clothes, in knitting jerseys, actually. So I never grew up with any inspiration or anything, but I knew a certain lady, Joyce Chimanye, because in-laws and her in-laws and my family were going to the same church. So she's the first person that I got to know who was into fashion. And my dream back then was she would be the one who would do my wedding dress. It wasn't that I'm inspired, I want to do what she's doing. That's the funny part. It was actually, I love her work and I would want her to make my wedding dress. So that was the first person that I had contact growing up, I think around secondary school. So I then later started really following her when I started the fashion thing, because she was the first person that I got to know was into fashion designing.
Right. And who's your biggest market? Where do most of your clients come from? Are they people that are walking into the shop, or people coming from a certain network or online? How do you get your clients?
I think my clients are kind of all over, because at first we didn't have a shop. We're doing our stuff in a basement. So people were coming through referrals and of course social media. But now, because there's a walk-in shop, we are also now getting walk-in. Someone was just passing by, they see a mannequin outside, and then they walk in. That is in Zimbabwe. For South Africa, we started with a shop and also making for people. So also our target market is walk-ins. For South Africa, it's mainly walk-ins. Actually, it was walk-ins. It's still walk-ins who make our business do well, because it's a mall. So people are prone to come every month end when they get paid, or when they're doing window shopping, and then they get to know about us. Social media for me, for South Africa, hasn't been really that effective as it is for the Zimbabwean shop. Yes.
Great, great. And you managed to dress a couple that featured on The Perfect Wedding. Tell us about that experience. How did you get to be part of it, and did it bring a lot of positive encouragement or traction towards your business?
Okay, with that couple, this was the funny thing. I didn't even know they were applying or they had been approved for OPW until they wanted to come to the shop to do the video shooting. So what they did is, we were 2 months old, and then they walked in. I was actually alone on the day, and then they said, we're coming from Joburg. We have a wedding in November, so we're looking for someone who can make our attires. And then they showed me the pictures that they had, and they explained the kind of material that they wanted. It's called Sishweshwe for South African traditional wedding. So we spoke, and I gave them a quotation, and then they said, we'll get in touch with you. And then they went. We went for something like 2 months, and they were quiet. Then the day that I was coming to Zim for a break, that's the day that they called me and said, can we have your bank account? We want to pay our first deposit.
Wow.
I had actually forgotten about them. Like, I just thought maybe they just got a quote and they're gone. And then they did their first payment. Then it was in end of July. Yes, it was end of July. Then they did their payments, and then we started doing their clothes. We did them, and everyone tried. We did our. It wasn't a bad experience. The only issue that we faced with the guys were they are those gym guys, so their body weight kept changing. So we had to do a lot of adjustment. But with the bride, we didn't even have an issue. Her dress fitted her perfectly from the word go.
Yes.
We didn't do any alterations. It was just a perfect fit. And the girls, we had a few adjustments to make, but the guys were interesting. And then they took their clothes, and then they went on a Monday, and their wedding on Saturday. And then the Monday, that's when they called me and say, we want to come with our perfect wedding to your shop on the 29th. At first, I was a bit skeptical because 29 November was also Black Friday, and we're having
Okay.
Black Friday. I wasn't too sure how it's gonna work with people coming in to buy and also then setting up for the. Yeah, but my partners encouraged me and said, you know what, this would do us good. I think the other reason why I was dodging also was because I'm not really confident in speaking in public.
But you speak so well.
I think because right now I know it's just you and me. I think like where there's a crowd and people are watching, I think I get to have a bit of stage fright.
Wow.
So I wasn't too sure, but then they said, no, this would do us good. And unfortunately, both of them were not around, so I had no choice. I had to do it. And then that's when we did the shoot. So it was done on the 29th of November. Then their wedding was on the 30th. Then they aired it in February this year. So it was good because it also gave us a lot of feedback and coverage everywhere, because now people were inquiring, people were interested. This is the funny thing also, even the people who are now, the people who responded more are from Zimbabwe.
Oh, wow.
I think they gained confidence in us because we have dressed someone in international television.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, so this is working not only for South Africa, but for Zimbabwe as well.
True, true. Wow, congrats on that. Congrats on that. I think that was actually a big achievement. It's a big investment on your part in terms of the work that you're doing there. And you have such a beautiful and very inspiring story. But there's a young lady who's there in Zimbabwe, or is there also in South Africa, who's looking around the environment, and all they see is a collapse in the economy, things not really working out, and not so much that's inspiring them to take on their dream, but they have a passion towards fashion, towards design, towards entrepreneurship. What would you say?
I would say there is always an opportunity. I think the thing is, if you're quick to identify, and also the people that are around you. For me, I had. lot of people would
Okay, so we've lost the connectivity there, but definitely I'll bring it back. Yes.
Sorry, I was receiving a call, so I had to. Yeah. So there's always an opportunity, and there's always someone who can point it out for you. For me, if I had not had people around me who would point it out for me, because my background is not brilliant, from education to family.
Okay, the connection seems
you just
great. Can you hear me?
sorry about that. You grow up.
You're talking about your background not being perfect. Yes.
Sorry.
I'm saying you were talking about your background not being perfect, and
yes. So I just grew up in a place where you're just going to school, you do your Form 4, that's it. There's no inspiration, there's no motivation. After school, you have to do this. What career do you want to pursue, or anything like that? So, but if that could happen to me, it can happen to anyone. I'm not coming from a place where someone would say, no, maybe she had backup of this, or she had a supportive family. My family is actually very surprised with how things turned out for me, because it was just something that they've never seen or dreamt of. So it's just like, oh wow, how are you doing these things? I remember that the time my older brother was like, how did you even get to this? I'm like, I also don't really have an explanation. Things were just happening and I was following through. So these other ones, the young girls of the day, they have a lot of opportunities and exposure. So it's about getting out there. I know today there's, for example, the Boss Babe.
yes, Boss Babe Summit, yes.
Reach out to people that are out there that you probably know or have an idea who would help you with whatever career you want to pursue, because it's a tough environment, but we can be there for each other. For me, it's actually amazing, because now I get people coming to ask me, how did you do it and all. And sometimes I feel I'm not the right person to tell them, but I've come to a point where I realize I'll just tell my story as it is. It will inspire someone. Someone will relate to it, because I don't know where they're also coming from. So, and also I just encourage the other people out there who have gone ahead to make time for those ladies and young girls, and talk to them and inspire them and motivate them, because we need each other. And especially with women, let's have each other's back, so that the little girls, even the Bible says, older women will teach the younger girls. So if someone reaches out, let's make time. I struggled getting people who would reach out, I would talk to, because I would try to get people to help me, but doors were closed. But thank God he raised other people who then came and stood in the gap and helped me.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. Just staying there, I'm speaking there to Jo. She runs Jo Couture. How do I say that?
It's Couture.
It's not French. It's not French.
It's French.
Oh, Jo Couture. Wow.
Yeah.
I tried to say it by myself and practice it, but I was like, wow, how do I even say it? Cool. So yeah, thank you so much. It was really an honor speaking to you, and just hang in there. One second. Yes, so thank you so much. It was really an honor speaking to you, and I hope some that watched or those that are going to watch this program will benefit one or two things. And I would want to keep track of your story, because I think these are the kind of stories that our younger generation and the young people that are coming after us need to hear, so that they get more inspired and more encouraged to actually start on their own enterprises and to dare go into spaces and try out things that are new, and also just challenge their current situations and narratives. Thank you so much. It was an honor speaking to you. And for those that are watching, stay tuned. We'll try and get the details from here in terms of how people can connect with her if they want to get some of her clothes.